YouTube, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. This will be one of my only, as far as I know, weekend episodes, and this is because of an idea my wife gave me. Again, we work for a school district, so we've got 2 weeks off for Christmas. And for those of you that have been enjoying me releasing a video every single day, that will sadly be coming to an end next week after this video is uploaded. Today's episode will be one of a two-parter. I will release one, and then Monday I can start with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday back with Fractured But Whole. But the idea she gave me was, I talk to her about RPGs a lot because they're my favorite kind of game. And she's like, well, honey, why don't you just make a top 10? Okay. So this will be my 10 to 6. The next episode will be my top 5. So without further ado, my honorable mentions are pretty... I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for some of these, but my rules for my RPGs, like something that makes an RPG good to me, and you won't have all these notes, you may not agree with some of mine, I may not agree with some of yours, but an RPG is good, it'll be on my list. If it's one that I totally forgot about or I didn't mention, put in the comments. I would love to know what other RPGs are out there. I know there's a lot of new ones on PS4. I haven't played them. So most of these will be Xbox 360, Xbox One, and the earlier generations of PS1 and 2, and handhelds. I included them. A lot of YouTubers don't, which is odd, because a lot of the best RPGs I've ever played were on the Game Boy. So here are my criteria for my top RPGs. It's pretty simple. 1, it's gotta have solid and existent plot. It has to have a reason why I'm fighting waves of guys with my waves of guys. It's not just, plop, you're here, go save the world. Like, give me some subplot. It also has to have good, solid side RPG elements. Give me either a town or a hub. Let me be able to upgrade or customize my weapons and characters. It's gotta have fun gameplay and characters. It's gotta have... Each one of these games that I will show you is one that I could tell you right now 2 or 3 of my favorite characters, even if the game's 20 or 30 years old and I haven't played it since I was 5. That is my definition of a good side character. Main characters... Link from Zelda, Mario from Mario, they don't really have much personality in a lot of their early games or in even some of their RPG outings. What they do have, though, is some interesting sides. Also, it's gotta have grinding for fun, not forced. We're gonna go straight into my honorable mentions because one of them perfectly encapsulates that rule. I like grinding for fun. Give me the opportunity to grind and be stronger than, like, the next boss because I was prepared and played the game. Don't put things like Knights of the Round in Final Fantasy VII behind a huge, huge grinding time sink wall. That's not fun. That's why one of my honorable mentions is Final Fantasy VII. I've played it 4 times. I haven't been able to get past the first half each time. Not because I can't. It's just there's a certain point in the game that I just get tired and bored. Like, the game shows you all these wonderful things you'll be able to do within the next 30 or 40 hours if you grind for it. Namely, Knights of the Round and the Chocobo thing. But you look at all these things you need to do if you want to complete and do the game to its fullest, and I see that giant list and it just intimidates the crap out of me, and I just don't want to play anymore. It's not fun. It's grinding because the game makes you grind. I don't like that. Other honorable mentions are Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Namely just because I ran out of room on the list. I wanted to put them on there. Breath of the Wild and most Zelda games in general, I haven't played all of them. But one of my very first RPGs was Zelda Oracle of Seasons. So Zelda and me go a ways back. I have played the other ones. The only one I haven't played that I know of is the very first one. And another honorable mention, because I forgot about it until after I'd already completed this list, was Dungeons and Dragons for the Xbox. It's a game me, my brother, and my dad played for 3 or 4 hours for like a week. Like 2 or 3 hours a day for like a week straight. We loved it. It had customization. You could play up to 4-player couch co-op. It was a wonderful game. Nowadays, Xbox has already said they're re-releasing some of their Xbox stuff on the Xbox One and Xbox Live. That's the big game me and my brother have been looking forward to. So let's hope that one gets out there a little sooner. Also, I do know Xbox is not well known for their RPGs, so sorry guys. I have a PS4. It's in the other room, so I'm just too lazy to move all my stuff so I can play it. So without further ado, let's start with the actual list proper. Number 10 might come as a surprise, just cause Pokemon. Don't you have a favorite? You're such a cop-out, you're just picking all of a franchise. Well, yeah, I've played every game in the franchise. My favorite is probably the original Pokemon Silver, but as an RPG, it's pretty good. Your protagonist is usually the quiet type. You're supposed to be them. Your Pokemon are your swords, they're your shields, they're your armor. You can put equipment on those, kind of like a gem system. Number 9 is Destiny 1, with one caveat because the original story was total crap. Destiny 1 post Taken King. So after all the DLC happened, the first 3 years of the game happened, if you had picked this up in the collector's edition that came with all 4 DLCs plus the core game, this game was pretty good. There were guns, there's special abilities, you've got to wait for cooldown timers. It's very light RPG, but if it's one of your first ones, it's a good blend of RPG elements with a little FPS on the side. Psych. Number 8, sorry, I wasn't sure if you could see the container, is the Castlevania Sorrow series. There's only 2 in the series that I know of. There's Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow. This is Dawn. It's a little less story-driven than Aria, but I don't have a copy of Aria anymore. I'm looking for it. Give me time. Pretty much, if you've ever played a Castlevania game, it's always the same thing. Every 100 years, Dracula wakes up, says, alright, let's get this party started, brings a castle with him, and tries to take over the world with monsters. A Belmont shows up, kicks his butt with a whip, throws him back in his coffin, cycle repeats. There are a few changes here and there, but for the most part, the formula's pretty much the same. Aria of Sorrow changed that. Instead, Dracula got tired of waking up all the time, or one of the Belmonts finally put him down permanently. So instead, he's reincarnated as this kid named Soma. Soma Cruz has the ability, it's RNG based, so good luck, to, upon killing an enemy monster, absorbing their soul. Thus, his equipment is which monster souls he is actively using at the time. He can use the monster's abilities as his weapons. He also does get a sword and shield and regular equipment just like Symphony of the Night. Just every single monster can potentially be his next weapon. So, it's pretty cool. It really is jarring when you're playing the game and you're about to beat a boss and it's like, okay, now you need to make this weird runic symbol on your touch screen. And you're like, oh, crap, what was the symbol? I mean, it's easy, but it takes you away from what's fun about the game. But as long as you get it right on the first or second try, the things are only there for a few seconds, and there's a practice mode so you can practice your most powerful one to your heart's content. So, yay! I don't think number 7's gonna come as a surprise to anybody, but it's Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. This game was probably one of my first handheld RPGs. It wasn't Link to the Past, it wasn't Oracle of Seasons. This was probably my first legit RPG on a handheld console. And I loved it. I still love it. I've still got a pair of level 99 save files on this game because it is so good. And there is so much stuff to do. This is the first legit 100% RPG. What I recognize as a full-scale RPG to its core on this list. I wish I could have put it higher, but some of the games on here have just a little more nostalgia for me, and I think I was a little biased. So take that with a grain of salt, but if you have one of these, or you have an old Game Boy SP, or an old, like, regular style DS, there are 2 games on this list that I keep this DS around because of. Because it was the last Game Boy they made that was backwards compatible for SP games. So the last one on this list, a lot of you are gonna hate me for, because there are better games in the series. The reason I like this one over probably Tools of Destruction or Up Your Arsenal, although of those 3, my favorite is the very first one because of the suck cannon. The suck weapon makes me love you. Ratchet Deadlocked was the first co-op Ratchet & Clank game. And it had a lot of elements that wouldn't come into play for quite a while. It had, of course, Ratchet, it had Clank, it had the Omni Wrench, it had guns. Guns that leveled up with use, and a health bar that leveled up with experience to almost infinite levels. What's great is those things were invented in Ratchet & Clank 2 and 3. They got perfected here. Problem is, with so many weapons, how are you going to use them all? Introduce co-op. Couch, the remake does, they did a remastering for PlayStation. I have it on my PS4. Avilthi wasn't as big a fan of it as me, but again, I first played this with my brother. We got it. We saw that it's between 1 to 4 players. 1 to 4 is online deathmatching. In-game, it's 1 to 2. And we loved it. Like, we played the whole game twice. There were moments where we're like, okay, what guns do you like to use? I'll use different guns. That way we're leveling all of them at once and becoming gun gods. It was glorious, it was fun, and it definitely deserves the number 6 spot on my list. Now, if you like this list, please give me a like, give me a subscribe, tell me if you'd like me to do other lists like this. I play just about every genre out there except sports games, but I could make like a top 3 on those, because honestly, I think I've only played like 3 of those, just the other ones don't seem interesting to me. I mean, whoop, 50 different Madden games, no. So I will see you with the 5 through 1 list next time. Lights out.